It's time for the Brouhaha Sports Show. Brouhaha Sports with award-winning sports writer Dale McKee and co-host Marshall Wood. Talking sports with the legends of the game and famous sports personalities. Brouhaha. Now to Marshall and Dale with tonight's guest.
Good evening, everyone. Brouhaha time in Southeast Mississippi. Marshall Wood and Dale McKee getting ready to break down a little sports action. How's it going, Dale?
Doing good.
Doing good?
Doing good. I got a haircut last week, and you asked me to get one. I got one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got one last week, too.
Where?
Yeah, I ain't got the 3, but I had 2 of them.
Oh, yeah, your sides look good.
Yeah, they're good, don't they?
Yeah.
It ain't easy looking this good, Dale.
No, it's not.
Man, it's hard, ain't it? Well, things we have to go through being such good-looking fellas. Oh.
You could do a commercial for on Channel 7, because I've seen some of the guys talk just like you did right there, you know.
What's going on in the sports world?
I have no idea. That's why I came to you to talk to you about it.
You know, I know a guy.
Yeah.
I know a guy. We all know a guy.
Okay. Right.
And a guy writes writes an article. Been doing it. He's got this article he writes every week. And
it's tough looking up stuff sometimes.
I just wondered if there's anything exciting in your sideline you want to share with us.
Well, let me see. We talked about the NCAA the Final Four.
Yeah. Who is in the Final Four? Do you know?
I finally figured it out. Anyway, UConn upset Duke. Duke was the top seed, and that was a heck of a basketball game yesterday. Duke had a 19-point lead in the second half and lost it.
Lost it. Man, they're going to be kicking themselves in the rump for the rest of their lives.
Oh, my goodness. Well, they lost 3 games this year. Duke did by a total of 5 points in 3 games. That's only 3 games they lost.
Or a Cooper flag when you need it, huh?
Yeah, they lost 2 1-pointers and a 3-pointer, I guess. But anyway. But they had them Boozer brothers, and I'm going to tell you what, they can play. I don't know what they had in their body, but they were boozing. But, I mean, that was Duke. But Duke had a great year. But UConn just, there's something about winning. DNA. People talk about the DNA in people's body. Well, in sports, you have a DNA. If you're a winner, if you play for a winning program, you just go in there with, hey, we're going to win. You got it in your mind. And UConn has been to 3 of the last 4. Now, does Duke have that same DNA? Yes. But right now, UConn's got a little bit more.
Yeah. You know what they say? Success begets success.
That's true.
Learn how to win and believe in yourself.
Yeah, well, UConn was a number 2 seed, but they made it. Two number 1 seeds made it. Michigan made it, and Arizona.
Yeah.
UConn is 2, and then Illinois is number 3. And what's unique about Illinois?
Ain't that the ones? Is Mendoza playing? He's from Indiana, though.
Yeah. All I can tell you about Illinois is everybody on their team is from Europe that start. Everybody.
The Europeans.
No, Americanos. But they play a old school basketball. They just do it the right way. Now, if they're going to win or not, I have no idea. But they're going to give it a whirl.
They bounce the ball, they pass the ball to somebody's open, and they shoot the easy shot. Is that what they do? Mm-hmm. Man.
And in the women's basketball, tonight, let's see. For sure, UConn is in it again for the 25th time in the Final Four. Mm. And I believe, let me see, they ended up beating... Let's see, I can't remember. I don't know if they beat Duke Sunday or not. But anyway, UConn's in it for sure. And I think Texas and South Carolina are going to decide tonight if they want to play in it.
See if they want to play in it.
Yeah, they got games against other people. Yeah. So anyway. Yeah. And there's one of UCLA made it. Yeah. UCLA made it on the women's side. So it's going to be a great weekend again for basketball.
Yeah, man.
And this will wrap us up, college basketball.
Yeah.
Now, in college baseball, Mississippi State is for real.
They seem to be, don't they?
Yeah, they are. they are honestly they're playing a different level. They manhandled Southern Miss last week in a midweek game last Tuesday night, 12-0, and then they didn't let Ole Miss score. I mean, Ole Miss hit a 3-run homer, and that was about it for the whole weekend.
Man.
And of course, State's got Ole Miss's number. I mean, you have to be honest if you're a Rebel fan. That was the 9th series win in the last 10.
Man,
series is 3 games.
Yeah.
Now, overall, I think State has won 29 of the last 39 games they've played. That's a lot.
Yeah.
And of course, Ole Miss coach said after the game, and he was right. He said, "Guys, you should be embarrassed. It should be gnawing at you.
Yeah.
But you know you need to make a commitment and get back here tomorrow and let's start working.
Yeah.
Because this shouldn't have happened."
Right.
So we'll see.
We shall see.
We shall see.
Well, there's a lot of things we're going to see, but what do we got for our guest tonight?
We got one of the great sports writers in Alabama history.
Really?
Creg Stephenson, a Mississippi boy from Hurley, Mississippi.
Hurley.
Hurley.
Man, we know all about Hurley. We go down there pretty regularly
Yeah.
down here from this Wayne County block.
Anyway, he's going to tell us all about, he works for AlabamaAL.com, they call
Okay.
it. So we're going to find out.
Well, I tell you what, we look forward to that. Let's take a break to hear from our sponsors, or one of them, and then we'll be back with tonight's guest, Creg Stephenson, right after this commercial break.
Phillips Building Supply in Laurel, your hometown building supply store since 1954. We are locally owned and pride ourselves on helping our customers find exactly what they need. From foundations to roofs to doors and windows, Phillips has it. For tools, hardware, lumber, and plywood, visit Phillips Building Supply.
Hey, Greg, we appreciate you being on the show today again. And we just want to talk about what's happening over there in the heart of Dixie in Alabama. First of all, we'll start with the Alabama basketball team. They had a pretty good run, didn't they?
Yeah, they made it a little farther than I thought they would, especially after their second leading scorer got and ran into some legal difficulties, let's say. In Holloway, but they beat Hofstra in the first round. They beat Texas Tech in the second round, and they gave Michigan a game for a while, actually up at halftime. But, Michigan's one of the probably top two teams in the country. Them or Arizona is probably the favorite to win the NCAA tournament. And they kind of pulled away in the second half about like we expected. But, 4 straight Sweet 16s for Nate Oates. Never been done before, not even by Wentz Anderson. Final Four a couple of years ago and Elite 8 last year and Sweet 16 this year. So, yeah, I think they, obviously you want to make it as far as you can. But I think they achieved what they probably should have this year based on everything.
Well, since we're talking about Alabama, let's talk about a couple things. Ty Simpson seems to be in an unusual place. Some people are rating him a high draft choice. Some of them are rating him maybe an early second round. What are your thoughts on Ty in the season that he had?
Yeah, he had a real first his season. Yeah, he was really, really good for the first half, and then things started getting banged up a little bit. He, obviously cracked the rib in the Rose Bowl, but before that, I think he had some back problems. Apparently, he was having some digestive issues that caused him to lose some weight, maybe lose some strength. So late in the year, he wasn't very good. But what he put on tape early in the year, plus what he did at the combine and at his pro day, I think he kind of solidified himself as the number 2 quarterback in the draft behind Fernando Mendoza, the Heisman Trophy winner out of Indiana, who everybody thinks is going to go number 1 overall to Las Vegas. But, where does that number 2 quarterback come off the board? That's a good question. Could be late first round. There's not really anybody picking late first round right now that absolutely has to have a quarterback, but some could trade back in. The Jets, for example, have a late first round pick, and the Rams were a team he was kind of ticketed for a long time to be kind of the long-term guy there after Matthew Stafford retires, but the Rams traded their first-round pick to Kansas City, and obviously Kansas City's not going to take a quarterback. So, it just kind of depends where that second quarterback comes off the board, but I do think it's going to be Ty Simpson, and a lot of times you will see teams trade back into the first round because if you use a first-round pick on a player, you get the automatic fifth-year option on him. Everybody else beyond that is a 4-year deal, so I would expect somebody probably will, trade back in and pick him in the late 20s sometime. That would be my guess.
I got you. Well, so who's the heir apparent to Ty this year, quarterback for Alabama?
Oh, that's ongoing. They have 2 players battling it out. Austin Mack, who is a guy who was the backup last year and actually was with Kalen DeBoer at Washington originally, transferred in when DeBoer got the job. And then Keelan Russell, who's a 5-star redshirt freshman out of Texas, played a little bit last year, not much at all. I think they want it to be Russell because he is the more talented of the 2, but Mac has so much experience in the offense, it wouldn't be unheard of if he's the guy. It is big that both of them stayed. You know, one or both could have entered the transfer portal, obviously, and there's no post-spring portal like there was in the past. So we do know they'll both be here in 2026. If it's me, I'd probably give the edge to Russell again just because he's got the higher upside, but that doesn't mean he's going to start game one.
All right, you bring up a point about the spring portal. So when is the next time the guys can jump into the portal, or can they?
No, it won't be until after the season, January. So
Okay.
They passed that rule, back during the fall that you had so many. You go through an entire spring practice and then lose half your team. The only exception is if there's a coaching change for whatever reason. You do have every once in a while you have a coaching change during the off season for an off the field issue or somebody just suddenly retires or whatever, but it's pretty rare. But for the most part, we're not going to see any portal action until the season is over, which is good news for a lot of people, obviously, because you know right now 99 out of 100 guys, that's going to be your team in the fall. Obviously, because some guys will get hurt, some guys will just decide to quit for whatever reason. But the portal does not open again until after the season, and I think that's going to be definitely a better situation, especially on the lower division level.
Well, you say that, but what if I go through spring training and I think that I've got a chance to start? Well, all of a sudden, the coaches come to me and said, "Hey, you're going to be third string this year." Can I still transfer like the old way and just sit out a year, or what?
I don't think so. I don't think you can play. You would not be eligible at another place. And they actually have tried to put in some rules to keep that sort of thing from happening. The quote-unquote silent transfer where a guy will just leave and then all of a sudden show up somewhere else. I think that happened at Miami last year. A guy left Wisconsin. And, and at the new place, you can, they've set it up to where coaches can get suspended for that sort of thing. So you don't want to non-tampering, in other words. You don't want tampering happening. This is the way the schools want it. But I don't think, if you, thought there was any doubt you weren't going to get a chance to play, then you should have left in January.
I got you. So what do, since you live on the other side of the river now, what about
the river?
Yeah,
what river?
Well, we call some rivers Tennessee River, one river down there, Chickasahee River,
the Dog River, but I think it's
Chickasahee River, Tombigbee River. I don't know. But what do folks think about the Trinidad Chambliss deal with Ole Miss?
It's a good question. Obviously, if your team has to play them, you're not crazy about it, but. I think it's good for the SEC. It's good for college football. It seems to me some of the other guys, like Joey Aguilar at Tennessee or Charles Bediako, the basketball player at Alabama, those guys were just trying to game the system, it seemed like. With Chambliss, it seemed like there was a legit issue his, redshirt freshman year at Ferris State where he had a legitimate medical issue that kept him from playing. And for whatever reason, people didn't follow up on it with the paperwork the way they should have. So I don't have an issue with something like this necessarily. But it's the guys that are trying to get 7 and 8 years and going pro and coming back. None of that really happened with Chambliss. So I think it was probably a just decision in his case. In some of the others, definitely not.
Yeah, I don't want it to be an ongoing thing in the future. I know you got that guy running for governor over there. It used to be a football coach. Can't remember his name.
He sure did.
I try to forget that. All I remember is a pine box. Something about a pine box. But anyway, he had some good thoughts the other day. Just 5 years and get the date straight where you can do this and that. It seems like they've at least made a step in that right direction in stopping the portal but once a year, which is good.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I will say this. Tuberville obviously may be the wrong messenger on some of this because of his past and just his polarizing attitudes on a lot of things. But I do think he's on the right track here. if they're going to, quote unquote, restore some sanity in college sports, it needs to be with eligibility. It needs to be with these guys that are playing too many years and all that sort of thing, and transferring as well. I think that's where you can make some headway. The fact of trying to put the horse back in the barn with players getting paid, that's never going to happen. They will lose every single lawsuit when that happens. But the eligibility stuff, you should be able to set your own rules with if you're the NCAA, and I think we're heading in that direction. But the only way it's going to happen is federal legislation. And my question is, we're in an election year. Is it going to happen this year? Maybe they'll do it next year.
All right, one other question about football. I know football's on our mind 12 months a year now, but college football, okay, the SEC has gone to a 9-game league schedule starting this year.
Right.
Now, this is kind of a yes and no question, and then I'll let you explain your answer. The Arkansas, the Ole Miss, the States, the Vanderbilts, the Kentucky, South Carolinas. I'm just asking for a few of those folks. Maybe even in Auburn, you can throw them in there right now. Is this good for those teams? Are they going to be able to compete on a 9-game schedule?
Not necessarily. Yeah, I think the issue we're running into is, if you have to win 6 games to be eligible for a bowl game, that's going to hurt a lot of those. And that's part of the reason it took them so long to come around to it, I think. You know, it's real easy for when Nick Saban was at Alabama to say we should play a 9-game schedule because they win 10 games every year. But at the same time, you know, Vanderbilt was pretty bad for a long time. Then all of a sudden now they're good, you know. So, yeah, that's the one thing that I keep talking. You know, you keep hearing, you know, Greg Sankey and whoever, people kind of saber rattling that, hey, we're going to break away and do our own thing, and that'll be great. But then half of your teams are going to have losing records every year. You know, you're not going to have those 3 built-in games every year like you have now against non-conference teams, and it's going to be tough. I do think that it's going to lead to some resetting of expectations, you know, and we've already seen that to a certain extent in a lot of places. But yeah, is the standard, or not the standard, but the acceptable number of victories going to drop from, you know, maybe 10 to 9, 8, 7? I don't know. It's a good question. You're right. You're going to have those teams are going to be struggling to make a bowl game every year, and it's certainly not what their fan base wants. You know, before, when they were playing 8 games, you would have 12 and 13 teams bowl eligible every year. I'm not sure you're going to see that anymore.
Well, you know, I noticed about scheduling too. For instance, not so sure about Mississippi State this year, but I know Ole Miss opens with Louisville, and this schedule was made out several years ago because they were told that they needed to play, besides the 8 at the time, they needed to play one, you know, other Division I team. You couldn't. They didn't want you scheduling a bunch of. That's still the case, by the way. Yeah. So what I'm saying, these teams are going to have 10 games, but I also look at people like, say, a Southern Miss, because you're real familiar with them, and Troy and South Alabama. Who are they going to play? I mean, is this?
It's a good question. You know, I mean, Troy, I think canceled a home-and-home series with Mississippi State. South Alabama and Ole Miss have one scheduled for coming up, and has not officially been canceled, but probably is. Yeah, you're not gonna see those FCC teams going on the road to lower division programs anymore. So it's not gonna happen. Yeah. They can't afford to give up the home game. They can't afford to give up the easy win. So it's gonna hurt for sure. I think what is maybe helping is the expanded playoff and the amount of TV money that's flying all over the place. That's where it's going to have to be made up. And because of, you know, I know the SEC going to 9 conference games, the TV partners had to kick in a little extra money to kind of, quote unquote, make them whole for the money they might be losing having an extra home game or whatever it is.
Well, the money is being not dished out like it used to be. And what I'm talking about is, I read something yesterday or the day before about ESPN. They may not do any more. They're not budging on the NFL's request for more money for the future, for future TV contracts. They're saying, no, we're going to hold it like it is. So, but what gets me about the streaming services is that, like, say if you're a Major League Baseball fan, which I am,
Yeah.
opening night, the Yankees were going to play the San Francisco Giants.
Yeah.
It wasn't on any regular network. I can't. It was on Netflix.
Right.
I'm not a Netflix guy.
Netflix, yeah.
Yeah, it was on Netflix, and the streaming services. I have in the past subscribed to Major League Baseball, where I can pick up any game at any time except for the Atlanta Braves, because I was blacked out
Right.
because I was with a provider that they did not recognize. Well, this year, if I ended up a little bit more, I could watch the Braves. But I'm thinking, hey, I'm going to have to watch my money too. Because, I just have to watch it. So, a lot of these, and I'm wondering about the Super Bowl one day. Are we going to see it on some kind of stage where you got to pay $49.95 to watch it, or something like that?
It's possible.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's going to be on ESPN this year, which is obviously the first time it's ever been on cable. But yeah, with pro sports, with baseball especially, when the regional sports networks all collapse, that's definitely burst that bubble a little bit. It does not seem, at least thus far, that has happened with college football. They just keep printing more money for that. But yeah, you talk about baseball. I'm here in Mobile, and we are considered part of the Pensacola market. So I'm blacked out with the Braves and the Rays unless they're on my cable package, which they are. But I'm just saying, if I was trying to do the streaming only, you can't get either one of those teams because Pensacola is considered part of the Tampa Bay Rays market. It's really strange.
Yeah, when we go to, we like to go on the other side of Gulf Shores and Orange Beach, Perdido Beach.
Right.
And I would sit there and be having to watch the Rays instead of the Braves, so I'd have to drive down into Gulf Shores to a restaurant to watch the Braves if I wanted to watch a little bit of it. And of course they get.
If you go to New Orleans, you get the Astros, which is really weird. But anyway.
Yeah. That's it.
Hey guys, it's Marshall. I'm showed up. Greg, I told you I'd show up somewhere until we're out of time, but unfortunately we've reached that point. We want to thank you for taking time out of your schedule to be with us, and we appreciate what you bring to the Brouhaha table. Listen, would you hang on just a second? Dale and I are going to take a break to hear from one of our sponsors, and we'll be back with tonight's final segment right after this commercial break. See you in just a minute.
Phillips Building Supply in Laurel, your hometown building supply store since 1954. We are locally owned and pride ourselves on helping our customers find exactly what they need. From foundations to roofs to doors and windows, Phillips has it. For tools, hardware, lumber, and plywood, visit Phillips Building Supply.
Welcome back to tonight's final segment of the Brouhaha. Always good to have Creg with us. He does a really good job for us, doesn't he, Dale? He can talk those sports, can't he?
Yeah, well, he still got that Mississippi blood in him.
Yeah, baby. That Mississippi blood runs deep. Hey, looking around, it's kind of, baseball's up and running real good here. And I came across something here on the on that interweb. The longest Major League Baseball careers ever. Dale. Now, these are the players, according to this group, with the most seasons in baseball history, which equals where longevity equals greatness. How you like that, Dale? Do you agree with that? Longevity equals greatness. Will you buy that for $1?
No, I don't.
You don't buy that?
No, I have different thoughts on the last generation or the generation I grew up on. Those guys, that was their job.
Yeah.
They had to stay in the game. Willie Mays, 23, 24 years old. 24 years, ever what it was. But these guys nowadays don't have to do that. They don't have to go out and sell cars during the winter. Okay? Yeah. These guys now, they can make one contract can set them good for life. So you're not going to have long contracts anymore. Yeah. But go ahead with your conversation.
What is it? The guy who's the number one guy, the longest Major League Baseball career ever, who would you say would be number one?
I guess Nolan.
You're the man, Nolan Ryan. I'm gonna come down the list just to throw some. I don't know who Cap Anson is.
Who?
Cap Anson. Do you know Cap Anson? He's the number 2 guy. He played 25 plus years. Number 3. Now I know you know this guy got surgery named after him. Who would you think that would be?
Tommy John.
Tommy John. That's right. Number 3. This is a guy I used to like to watch. Oakland A. I think I got to see him live one time. Ricky Henderson.
Oh, Rick.
He could steal a base before Quick could get ready, couldn't he? Mm-hmm. And he was with the Athletics, where he really wasn't he with the Athletics? It wasn't that? Didn't he play a long time ago, like in the 70s or 60s, or was he soon later than that?
I think he's like a 70s, 80 guy.
70s, 80 guy.
Yeah, Ricky was.
I don't guess I got to see.
I don't think
him.
Ricky played with that bunch. Like Reggie Jackson and Catfish when they were out in Oakland. I don't think he played with that bunch. Yeah. I think he played later with them, but not with them.
He was good.
Yeah.
Of course, well, he played that long. Got to be. Pete Rose comes in at number 6. Are they ever going to let him in the deal?
Yeah, I think he can do it in 5 years, which is a stupid rule. I mean, if you let him in, let him in.
So they gonna make him wait another 5? I mean, of course they ain't gonna make him wait. They're gonna make us wait another 5. Where you stand on that? You think you ought to be in there?
Well, I just don't like some of these Hall of Fames. I think Major League Baseball, football do it right. I'm not real familiar with the NBA basketball Hall of Fame. But all I know is you have to sit out a few years before you can get in, which I understand.
Yeah.
Because, what if a guy decided to retire today, get in the Hall of Fame next year, and then want to come back and play? I think once you get to the Hall of Fame, that's it.
Get out of here.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need to come back, because we don't want to see you out there not performing like you did with your Hall of Fame. Yeah. I think the only person who really got in the Hall of Fame early was Roberto Clemente, because he died in a plane crash. Yeah. And they were just
Was he the Pirates?
Yeah, he was a long time Pirate guy. But I just think, these Hall of Fames now are putting these people in that are still active coaches. I don't agree with that.
You don't like that?
No, I think you should be retired.
I respect that.
I mean, I'm just old school now.
No, I'm old school too. I like that. I tell you, we ought to whoop somebody over that.
Sure.
Get them straightened out.
Yeah.
The number 10 guy on the list, Barry Bonds. We're going to stop at number 10. We'll come back just maybe at another brouhaha down the line. But we've got the top 10 longest major league careers ever that we kind of went through tonight. We may come back. We're out of time. We've had such a good time. Craig was on board. We're at the end of our third segment here. That's always nice to see you. You're speechless, aren't you?
I'm speechless.
He's speechless.
No comment.
Okay.
Are you flirting with me? No.
I got a big hammer over here I get you in the head with, but we won't talk about that. But now it's time for us. We got to go while we can, folks. Thank y'all for being with us tonight. We thank Craig Stephenson for being with us, and want to remind you that if you're interested, you can follow us on Facebook at the Brouhaha, and we do catalog all these shows where you can listen to them on demand, as they say, at our YouTube channel, the Brouhaha. But for now, it's time to say goodbye, Dale.
Goodbye, Dale.
Goodbye, everybody. We'll see you next week for more of the Brouhaha. Get us out of here, Jamie.
You've been listening to the Brouhaha with Dale McKee and Marshall Wood. Heard Tuesday evening, 6 p.m. on WABO. For more of the Brouhaha, follow us during the week on Facebook and WABO.